Good morning, hello, and welcome to Daf Lamed Vav. Shmuel says 36. Keneged Lamed Vav Sadiqim. Do you know any of the Lamed Vav Sadiqim?
Do I know?
Do you know any of them? Do you know who they are?
No. I know who they're not.
Who's not?
Me.
Am I one of the Lamed Vav Sadiqim?
Maybe. I don't know.
Could be, right?
Could be.
I think I am.
Maybe
I'm
on the lower end of
the lower end.
36.
I'm number 35. It said in the Gemara, we had a Gemara that said that Rabbi Yochanan, who was it? Rabbi Yochanan, no, some Tana had a lot of Hillel had 80 Talmidim. The greatest one was Jonas ben Uziel, and the least greatest one was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. So,
Wow.
Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, where it says he knew everything. You know, the mishalos of the shadim and stuff like that. So he knew what the shadim were speaking about, and he was the lowest Talmud.
Wow.
You believe that? So, I mean, it's a high level to be number 35, number 36. I'll take it. 35 is not bad.
I'm just joking.
Take 36. 36, double chai. Double chai. All right, we're going to start from the top here. Lam Vav Menal. Nistach Nikev. Tani Ula Barchina. Nikev Nekev Mufulish B'Mashu. V'She'ena Mufulish B'Ke'isar. We said in the Mishnah that if it has a hole and it's missing a little bit, Chaser Mashu, it's possible. So now the Gemara defines this exactly. What does it mean? So if the hole is running through the entire esrog, Nekam Mufulish, it's a hole that runs through the entire esrog. So then even if the hole is a miniature hole, minuscule hole, it passels it. If it's not mafulish, it goes partially through the esrog, so then it has to be a wider hole. It has to be the size of a keser, which is a small coin, let's say a shekel or a penny, wherever you live. Let's say in the esrog, it had simanim of a treifa. Now, what is a treifa shaykh to an esrog? An esrog doesn't really live and die like an animal or a human being. We're going to see in a second what that means. So where's my kind by? What's the question? Niklaf, he'll tell me that the psul is like because it's peeled off, an animal that their skin peeled off, I guess would be a treifa. Tanina, we have in the Mishnah, it says Niklaf is possible. If he'll tell me it got a hole in it, so we know an animal gets a hole, it's possible, it's a treifa. Tanina, it's also in the Mishnah. Nikev, if it gets a hole, not a crack, nistak is a crack, Nikev is a hole, which would also make it a treifa. Tanina, we also say in the Mishnah it's possible. Like the case of Ula Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Reya Shnishpacha Kikiton. You have a lung. Now, the lung, apparently, the way the article describes it, apparently, I didn't remember this from biology class, has two membranes on the wall of it, and it has flesh inside the membranes, along with the bronchial tubes, which carry the air, I guess, from the blood, from the lungs to the blood. Because you need the blood has to have oxygen, right? Oxygen comes in through your mouth, and it goes through the lungs, through the bronchial tubes, and it goes into your blood. It's connected to your heart, to your veins, to your arteries. Arteries carry it through the heart, veins away from the heart. Familiar with this stuff, Shmuel? How many arteries do you have?
I never counted them.
How many do you think you have?
At least 3.
How many bones do you have?
I don't know these things.
You don't know? Ramach Evarim? You never heard of that? 248 body parts.
Okay, maybe.
Shasag Yidim, 365 sinews, ligaments or tendons. Never heard that? You have 248 bones, and 365 ligaments or tendons in your body. Can I get 613 mitzvos? You gotta know this, Shmuel. Shmuel, I'm not asking you random halachic, random secular stuff over here. This is meat and potatoes of the Torah. Torah Gdaisha, Ramach Evarim, Avraham Avinu. How many Evarim did he have?
You just told me.
He had before he had the bris milah. How many did he have?
Yeah.
He also had 248, but it wasn't complete 248 like the bris milah. The Gemara says he really had like 238, and he got use of his hands, his legs, his eyes, his ears, his nose, and his aver. He got used to those things. He couldn't use them before. He didn't have control over them. Nice smart man, Shmuel.
You're brilliant.
So anyway, the red ketone has this membrane with a bronchial tube in the flesh. Let's say the flesh dissolves. I guess this happens in old people. It dissolves the flesh, and it acts like fluid, like water, and it's pouring out of your lungs. So he said this chair. It's not called a treifa if it happens in an animal. I'm a rubber with the kaima symphona. As long as the bronchial tubes are still there, even the flesh dissolved, it's still a kosher. It's not a treifa. Halo kaimi symphona a treifa. But if the bronchials are not there, it's a treifa. Hakamai. What would be the case over here? What's the case by esrog? The case by esrog is where the outside, the exterior of the esrog gets decayed or rotted. And the whole inside of the esrog, there's flesh inside the esrog, which makes up the fruit part of it. When you bite into an esrog, you actually bite into a fruit. Let's say that dissolved. It became very liquidy. It dissolved. And the only thing that was left was the actual seeds and the accompanying area that held the seeds, right? So that would be like the bronchial tubes, the seeds, and the accompanying areas like the bronchial tubes. So what would be the halacha over there? If the meat of the flesh of the esrog got dissolved. So the Gemara is Hakamai Dilma Hasam who dilo shalit ba'avira. There, the lungs are inside the animal, so the air is not going to touch the lungs. Hadar bari, it'll recuperate. The lungs will get better. Aval hacha the shalit ba'avira. Here with the esrog, where it's decayed from the outside, and already air is getting into the esrog, it's going to become disgusting. It's going to become totally decayed. Or dilma lo shnar. Maybe there's no difference, and just like over there, it wouldn't be a treifa. Here also wouldn't be a treifa. Tashma. Try to bring an answer to this question. Esrog tafuach saruach. Now we're going to see what tafuach and saruach mean. Originally, the Gemara thinks tafuach and saruach means decayed is tafuach and saruach is rotted. Kavush, it's pickled. Shalach, it's soaked in water. Kushi, it's a black esrog. We'll see exactly this means a black esrog, or just has a black spot. Lavan, or it's a very white esrog. Manumar, or it has spots on it. Puzzle. These are all esrogim which are puzzle. Esrog kikad or puzzle. If it's an esrog that is round like a ball, it's puzzle. So I guess when we're talking about, painting the basketball, I know Shmuel, you wanted to paint a basketball this year, yellow for your esrog. The Gemara says if it's like a ball, it's puzzle. So there goes your idea. We had a. It's like the Gemara says that the Gemara says in Daf Yomi, the Gemara says he thought he had a great answer, and Reb Zera or some Amora came with Shadi Bar Narga. He threw an axe. In the thing. We thought we had an eitzah to Makayim Esrog Behider to paint the basketball yellow, and I just threw an axe into it. The Gemara just threw an axe into it. It's like a ball. It's possible. There you go.
Very good.
Football would be kosher. All right, football is awful shit. All right, so you can color the football yellow. I don't know if pigskin turns yellow, but try it with some paint. Puzzle. V'yeshamrim af hatiyom, and some say even tiyom is like a Siamese twin attached esrog. Two esrog are attached to each other. Some say that's possible. Esrog aboser, it's a very small esrog. It hasn't fully. It's not ripe yet. Rabbi Akiva posel. Rabbi Akiva says it's possible. Cham machshirim. Chum say it's kosher. Gado b'tfus. Let's say you grew the esrog with a box around it, right? And you shaped it. When it's growing, you shaped it in a way that doesn't look like an esrog anymore. So that's not going to be kosher. Possible. Kasani mias tafua. Kasani mias tafua saruach. It says at least. Tafuach and saruach. My left tafuach because saruach means. Doesn't it mean tafuach means it's decayed on the outside, saruach, and it's rotted on the inside? Meaning just like our case where the rotting went all the way through and the flesh is ruined inside. Whereas says low idi because really both tafuach and saruach are referring to psulim from the outside on the actual klipa on the peel. Lo kasha had the tafach. Tafach means that it swelled. It was exposed to water, and the klipa, the peel swelled. Afagav lo sarach, it didn't decay. How does sarach? Afagav lo tafach. Sarach means it decayed, meaning only on the outside, on the inside. It was decayed on the outside, even though it didn't swell. Amar Mar, esrog kushi pasel. Esrog, which is black, is pasel. Tanya kushi kosher. Esrog, which is like a kushi, a black esrog, is pasel. But the Brisa says kushi kosher, domel kushi pasel. If it's a kushi, it's completely black, it's kosher. Doma kushi, if it's not completely black, it looks a little black, or it's similar to black, it's like a brownish shade, it's pasul. So which one is it? Is it kushi kosher or is it pasul? Marbayi, kistan nami masis and doma kushi. Now when Amisha said kushi, it meant doma kushi, but a kushi would always be kosher. What is it? Esro kushi? We can't see you, Shmuel. Come closer.
Oh, sorry.
What is an esro kushi?
Kushi?
It's an Ethiopian estrog. That's the way our school defines it.
Really?
It's an estrog that was indigenous to Ethiopia. You know what indigenous means?
It sounds like the word Indian.
No, it means that it comes from that region. It's Mikori, and they say in Hebrew. So it's from that place, from the source.
Ethiopian
The real thing.
estrogen? What, they're black?
So that's the thing. I mean, it's a little questionable. Estrogim in Ethiopia are black. I mean,
No.
I've ever seen a black estrog. That's what all the Mepharshim say. They all say it's black. The estrog is black. You know, and they say we're going to see Rava in a second. Let's see Rava. That's Abayi's answer. Rava Amar Lokash Halan v'Halahu. He says the difference is that it depends where you live. If you're living in Batlan, they were living in Bavel Abayi and Rava, so then it's going to be kosher. Kushi is going to be kosher. Even though it was grown in Ethiopia, it's Mikori, it's grown in Ethiopia. So in Babylonia, which is closer, this is the way they say, since it's closer to Ethiopia than Eretz Israel is to Ethiopia, so therefore it's more commonplace to have an estrog which is black in Bavel than have an estrog which is black in Eretz Israel. There's Doma Kushi, that's not common anywhere, but if it's Kushi, it's a real Ethiopian. So that's common in Ethiopia. It's grown from Ethiopia, and it's more common to Bavel, which is closer. Now, the Rashash asks a big question over here. Ready for this question, the Rashash?
Yeah.
This is what Shmuel likes. This is, I can see on his face, this is what Shmuel likes. He likes the Rashash. He likes the Iyun. This is Iyun with Benzion. We're coming back. We're coming back better than ever. Here, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to believe what you hear right now. It's better than Panovich. Better than Panovich. You can't hear this stuff in Panovich. Only with Benzion. Let me tell you something right over here. Now, we have a long footnote here in the R scroll. And the R scroll says, this is the Rashash's question. He says, what do you mean? Bavel is harder to get to. The Eretz Yisrael is closer to Ethiopia. Ethiopia is in Africa. Eretz Yisrael is right on top of Africa.
That's true.
You know,
that's right.
Iraq, Bavel, which is in Arabia, which is in, further out, it's not so. So he says over here, it depends. This is the article, if you cross, this is what it's called. It's called the Bab al-Mandeb. I looked this up yesterday on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
There's actually a waterway, 20 miles straight, they say here. I don't know, they say 15 miles on Wikipedia, I think, that you cross over from Djibouti. Djibouti, it's a country in the Horn of Africa. You know what the Horn of Africa is?
No.
Horn of Africa is basically a peninsula that juts out from the eastern part of Africa. It's composed of 4 countries. What are the 4 countries?
Djibouti.
Yeah, what else? These are famous countries. Ethiopia. Somalia. And Eritrea. What's the capital of Ethiopia? Addis Ababa. Somalia, Mogadishu. Eritrea, Asmara. And Djibouti, I think it's Djibouti City. Anyway, Djibouti, if you crossing over, there's a pass of water from where Djibouti and Eritrea are on the coast, where they meet, to Yemen. Across this strait, which is called the Bab al-Darab, you can cross over.
Bab al-Darab, that's like
and
a
it's
desert or something,
and
right?
It's actually a waterway. It's water.
What is Bab al-Darab mean?
That's the name of the strait. That's the name of the water.
That's
the passage.
It's not a little thing. It's a big ocean, right?
So if you cross over the Bab al-Darab, it's actually between the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. So the Gulf of Aden is under Yemen, and the Red Sea is under.
Once Rebelsky said it, when you pass, if you would go towards that waterway, on your right hand you would have Yemen, and on your left hand you would have Somalia, and right Yemen and Somal. You like that?
That's very nice. I like this. This is great. Shmuel, you're adding a lot today.
Thank you.
Yamin is small. I mean, it's not directly from Somalia, because Somalia is more inland. It's
Oh.
actually Djibouti is on the coast.
Okay, Djibouti.
Um,
Djibouti doesn't sound like anything.
It doesn't. You're not gonna be allowed to spell that either
Djibouti
way.
sounds
It's
like-
DJOUBITI, I think, something like that. Anyway, it's hard to pronounce.
There's a lot of there's a desert there. Is that also a big
They
desert?
found Kohanim there. Apparently, there
Are
were
you joking?
Kohanim, like Kohanim for many generations
You're
lived there.
joking. Where?
In Djibouti, yeah. I read a book. I saw a book in the Jewish
Really?
bookstore about this. Yeah.
Really?
Anyway,
Well read.
Anyway, let me tell you about this. So that's what the Rosh Hashanah answers. He says that you can cross over the water, and if you cross over the water, then it is shorter from Ethiopia to
That's what
Iraq,
the Rosh Hashanah
because you
says
can go,
this?
you cross over the water to.
Amazing.
Let me see who answered this. Oh, the Rosh Hashanah wonders about this explanation. However, this is only true. Maybe the article says this. Then the article gives a different answer. They say even if you travel by land, really you have to travel through Sahara Desert
Oh, that's
in
terrible.
order to get
No, I
to
wouldn't
Israel.
recommend
So even
that.
though it's shorter in distance,
Sahara Desert is a big desert.
but it's torturous
So,
travel.
Of course, no
so.
one. How did people go back then? They didn't go probably.
So I want to answer a little differently. Here that comes to Iyun with Benzion. I want to answer the Succah. I'm going to throw in a narga. I'm going to throw in an axe on the Succah over here. I'm going to say, like you asked, are there really black esrogim? There are black esrogim? Where do you ever hear of a black esrog? Have you ever seen a black esrog?
I never saw the black desert.
We know the halacha is that if you have a black
look at the back.
spot,
Here they have pictures.
if you have a black spot on your esrog, maybe in the pictures, but in reality, these are just made up pictures.
Here,
I know, but
it's finished.
let me explain something to you. Listen to this, Shmuel.
Yes.
That black spot passes in esrog. This is the halacha lamaisa. Black spot passes your esrog.
That's
It's on the
right.
chotem,
That's
or if you
right.
have in rove of the esrog, you can
Okay.
combine the dots.
Yes.
Brown does not pass. I want to say that's the kushi doesn't mean that it was grown in Ethiopia. Halan v'halu ravu we pass like halan v'halu. Lan is for us in Bavel. Who had darker skin? People in Israel or people in Babylonia? You know, people Iran, Persia, they have very dark skin. Ethiopians have the darkest skin. They're like Africans. Like
That's
I'm
true.
saying, they have the darkest
That's
skin.
true.
So in Africa, like Abai says, if it's Makori, if it's indigenous to that region, so it has a black spot, so it fits in with the color of your skin. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look. It fits in the color of your skin. And the Gemara says that if it's black, Rara is saying, even if you go to Bavel, it's not a matter of how close it is. If you go to Bavel, Iraq, the skin of the person's skin is darker. Since it's darker, so therefore,
They look at it as
even if it's black, a black spot wouldn't be so different than the color of your skin.
It is black. You can say it's
It is black. It's a black spot.
Why
It's
does
not
it
a
say
black
it's a black
esrog.
esrog? Let's say it's a black esrog.
There's no black esrogim. It's not such a thing. It's a black spot on your esrog, and in Bavel they had darker skin, so it's not such a difference in the skin. It doesn't stand out as much. Eretz Yisrael, they have Americans, they have Anglos like me.
No, that's
Even though I have darker type of skin, you also have a little darker type of skin.
I do have darker skin.
I have pretty dark skin. I have a
You're
perpetual
a Sephardi
tan,
or something.
perpetual tan, but no, I was born with that. But I'm saying most people, a lot of Anglos over here, they have very white skin.
That's right.
So in Eretz Yisrael, even though there are people who have darker skin, some Israelis, but not as dark as Persia and Iraq.
That's right, in Djibouti.
So therefore, halahud in Eretz Yisrael, it's a black spot stands
nice.
out.
Interesting.
You like that?
I like that
Iyun
idea.
with
I don't
Benzion.
know, the black
You
dot
can't top
part.
that. All right.
I don't like so much. I like the fact
Answer the
that-
Rosh Hashanah's
the
question.
Rashash. Do you know the Rashash was a great
He was very wealthy.
scholar? He was a big
Yes.
scholar. He was a tremendous Talmud Chacham. Do you know he's mentioned? This is an amazing tidbit.
Yeah.
He's mentioned in somewhere in, I don't know where, somewhere in the, I think the Chai Odom. He's mentioned there. I guess he lived there when he was Chai Odom he was a young man in the Chai Odom, and he spoke to Chai Odom once about some halacha, and the Chai Odom mentions him in the Chai Odom.
Okay. Well, some say the Rosh Hashanah is greater than the Chayyim.
Really?
He was on the Gemara. The Chayyim was not on the Gemara. He was just halachic sefer. Okay.
No, but it's interesting. You wouldn't think that Rashash was
All
such.
right. He was big, Rosh Hashanah.
No, but he wasn't that age. You would think the ages don't work out, but it does.
You know what his name was?
Rashash.
What does it stand for?
Not really sure.
I think it was Rav Shmuel or Rav Shimon Starshun. Starshun. He's very wealthy. Okay, we got to go on because we're not going to make it under half an hour. Esrog a posel, Rabbi Kiva posel, the Chachamim machshir. Rabbi Kiva says it's possible. The Chacham says machsh. I'm a rabbi. Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Shimon, I'm a davarecha. Rabbi Kiva and Rabbi Shimon hold the same svar. Rabbi Kiva had the amran. He holds it's not considered a full pri. It's not ripe. Had the amran, like we said now. Rabbi Shimon, ma'ayis Rabbi Shimon. The Sanya, Rabbi Shimon poter as esrogim the kutnan. When esrogim are small, he patters them from chumas and maestros. He can only take chumas and maestros off a pri that's gemar, that's finished. That's ripe. Amalei abai dimalohi. Maybe they won't hold of each other. Ad kan lo kamer Rabbi Kiva hachad v'yinan hadar. You need to be beautiful. The leika. If it's not a full pri, it's not ripe. It's not beautiful. Hasam karabanan severely. He holds like the rabbanon over there that you can take chumas and maisos even though it's not completely ripe. Inami ad kan lo kamer Rabbi Shimon hasam. Rabbi Shimon says by chumas and maisos it has to be fully grown. Dichsiv aser ta aser kol tvuad zarecha. It has to be zarecha. It has to be a way. It has to have full seeds. If it's ripe, it's going to have seeds that a person can take those seeds and plant another esrog tree. Aval hacha kerabanan really maybe here, even though it's not a full esrog, it's still considered beautiful. The su lo midi, and the Gemara says nothing further to discuss. End of the discussion. They're not related. Gemara continues. Gadol b'tfus v'asau lamad v'amabez. Gadol b'tfus v'asau min birya acheres pasol. Amarava, if he grew it in a box, he arranged that the growth should look like something else. It's possible. If he just put wood or he put a box around it and it's shaped like a regular estrog, of course it's kosher pshita. It's pasha. Kimin birya acheres, then it says like another birya, another creation, something else. The shricha davidi dapi dapi. Apparently, the way our school explains it, that you put it wood planks over there, and you grew it like a wheel. It spokes like a wheel.
Yeah, there's a picture here. You can
I'm going to show them. Let me see the picture. It has spokes like a wheel, and it has spokes like a wheel. So then it's considered to be kosher because that's considered the shape of an esrog. Let's take. There you go. That's like a wheel because it still looks like an esrog, and that's the thing that you put it in the wood thing. There you go. Okay. Itmar esrog sheneghu achbarim. Let's say you have an esrog which was got holes thrown out achbarim. The mice bit into it a little bit. Amar Rav Ein Zahadar. He's not beautiful. You have a lot of mice biting your esrogim.
Yes.
You need an exterminator, Shmuel. Get an exterminator. I'm telling you, mice are not good.
Mice aren't good, and they destroy the esrogim.
Yeah, exactly. Aini, this is true. He would actually dip his esrog in some sauce or something like that. I don't know what sauce is good with esrog. Maybe some esrog jelly. I don't know. Maybe some ketchup. I don't know. He would dip his esrog in ketchup, let's say, and he would be yotze. He would eat it, and he'd be yotze the next day. So the Mishnah says if it has a hole, it's possible. The Mishnah says it's possible. It's only on the first day because it's chaser. There's two main psulim by an esrog. One is that it's not lakach tam. It has to be whole. That's only b'yom lakach tam lachem by yom harishon. Pre-eitz hadar is not really after the words by yom harishon. Therefore, it passes all 7 days. So hadar not beautiful passes all 7 days. If it's not whole, it only passes the first day. So he would dip it in ketchup and eat it after the first day. El the Rav Kasha, according to Rav Kasha, that's a psul and hadar. It's not beautiful if akbarim eat it. They make it disgusting, so it's not just a hole, it's actually a lack of hadar. Ika the Amri, another way of saying this, Amarav zeh hadar. He says it is hadar if the mice eat it. Because we have proof from Rechanina he would eat it and he'd be yotze. Rechanina kasha masnisan. What about it you can do for the Mishnah? Lo kash kam yom the Rishon kam yom the Sheni. So if it has a hole on Yom Tov Rishon, it's not whole. It's not a complete esrog. Yom Tov Sheni, it would be good. Esrog katan. I'm a raf from our papa. Machlokas khan kav machlokas ba'avonim mikorzolos. Just like the machlokas over here, with the machlokas by sharp rocks. They used to bring sharp rocks to clean themselves in the bathroom when they went to the bathroom on Shabbos. Sani b'Shabbos gimel avonim mikorzolos motel lahachnis beis lakisei. They had to bring 3 sharp avonim into the beis lakisei. In order, even though it's muksa, but it's covered up brios. For kama shiur, and how big could they be? Rabbi Meir Omer ke'egos. He says it can only be the walnut size. Rabbi Yehuda Omer ke'beitza. Rabbi Yehuda says a beitza, just like the machlokas here. Rabbi Meir says an esrog could be the minimum size. An esrog is an egos, a walnut. Rabbi Yehuda says the minimum size is a ke'beitza. V'gadol kadesh yochas. Tanya Amar Rabbi Yossi Ma'aseh Rabbi Akiva. Ma'aseh Rabbi Akiva Shabal beis haknesses. He came to shul. The esrog al kseifo. esrog on his shoulder. Amalo Rabbi Yehuda, Misham Raya. Rabbi Yehuda says, what's the raya from that? Hey, Ma'amrulo ein zeh hadar. They told him it's not beautiful to have a huge esrog. Mishnah.
He thought it was nice. I mean,
He thought it was nice.
they said it's not nice.
I don't know how he was so strong to hold esrog that was on his shoulder. It's a pretty big esrog. Esrogs weigh a lot. If it's like a watermelon on your shoulder.
What? I mean, why estrogen grow very big? It's interesting. Do you ever see a big orange? It just is interesting. Do they have big oranges? It's an interesting thing. I guess because it lives on the tree a long time.
They have steroids nowadays. I mean, maybe in Rikia's time also, that estrogen wants steroids. Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah, the Vada Rabbanim apostles, estrogen on steroids. Just Major League Baseball apostle, say you can't play if you're on steroids, hit too many home runs. Estrogen on steroids is also the Vada Rabbanim apostle. All right, the Mishnah. Ein ognes lulav el b'mino. You can't tie the lulav. You're supposed to tie the lulav. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's a chiv. According to Rabban, it's zekleim anveyu. You have to do it b'mino. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda holds it has to actually be one of the four minim of the lulav. Remeir omer afilu b'chut b'mishicha. Even a linen thread you could use to tie it. Amar Remeir. Ma'aseh b'anshi Yerushalayim shei ognes lulavein b'gimonio shel zav. The people of Yerushalayim, they used to tie it with threads of gold. That's not one of the four minim. Amru lo, Rabbi Yehuda said back to them, it would actually, the real egg, the real knot, they made with one of the four minim below, and that held it together. Amar Rava says, afilu b'siv, afilu be'ikra dedikl, even with a piece of ivy of the palm tree, even with a part of the trunk of the dikl. Amar Rava, my time under Rabbi Yehuda, what's the reason Rabbi Yehuda conserva lulav sarach eged? Why does Rabbi Yehuda need it to be one of the four minim? He holds lulav has to be tied together. If you tie it together, then it's going to be five minim. So it's going to be a problem. Baltos. How do I know that siv, the ivy and the bark, is considered a type of lulav? It's considered actually part of the palm tree. That's in regard to this. Sanya, but sukkah's teshu. You have to live in a sukkah. It doesn't say what type of sukkah. Sukkah shall call davar. The Remeir. Meir says your sukkah, the schach can mean anything. Or if you don't meir, any sukkah no heges el dal minim shabbalulav. He says it only applies. You can only use schach with the four minim that you have in the lulav. I didn't know, I guess esrog will be one of them. I didn't know that normal lulav shein novag b'leilos could be yamim. Lulav only applies during the daytime. Novag b'arbas minim. You have to have specifically these four minim. Sukkah. Shenagas b'leilos could be yamim. Odin shalot tehei ala b'arbas. When the sukkah is more machmir, you have to sit in there at the night also. So therefore, we should be machmir. And all you do dalad minim you can use for schach. Amalo kol din shata, as they said to Rabbi Yehuda, kol din shata dan tchilas lahachmir or sof lahakal. It's going to end up in a kula. Eno din. L'matza arbas minim yoshevu batal. V'torah amar b'sukkos teishu shivas yamim. Sukkah shall call davar. What's going to happen? According to you, it's going to be very hard to find these dalad minim, and therefore you're not going to have schach.
Of course. And
Rabbi Yehuda is going to come l'kula.
Right.
What you try to make l'chomer is going to come l'kula because no one's going to find it.
And you don't even, if you live in a place that they don't have it. Look, you live in a cold climate. You don't have any of these. You don't have a luxury of just picking a tree. There aren't any trees even.
So you see, right? There's not luxuries. You have to go to Dubai for luxuries.
No, I'm saying.
I hear what you're saying.
Has a big sukkah. Dubai has sukkah.
I'm sure they have nice sukkahs now. This year, Sukkah shekadar v'chein be'ezra amru su hahar reviu ali zayis v'ali eitz shemen v'ali hadas v'ali eitz marim v'ali eitz avos. Asu sukkahs. It says in these things, some of the things, the leaves of an olive tree, or the leaves of eitz shemen, the pine needles. These are not things which are part of the dalaminim. So you see from Ezra, they're going to prove from Ezra you don't have to bring it. Asu sukkahs, it makes sukkahs kakasa. Rabbi Yehuda savar hani l'tfanos. He says those things, the leaves from the olive tree and the pine needles, that's for the walls of the sukkah. Ali hadas, ali tmorim, ali eitzavos, l'schach. Those other things from the hadassim or from the palm tree, that's l'schach. So now we're finishing up rope. It's not misachin b'nisarin, divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Al masiv ikra deklamin lavahu shmamina. We learned earlier in the Masechta that boards, which are made out of palm tree, the trunk of the tree, right? You can use as schach. Maybe it's a xeris tikra. If it's too big, but if it's small enough, you can use it. So even though it's made out of the trunk of a tree, so you see that Rabbi Yehuda, who needs it to be the min of the dalam minim, he says you could use it for your nesarim. So you see, Rabbi Yehuda holds that you have to be siv and ikra the diklar called mini de lulavahu. Enjoy the shiur Shmuel.
Yes.
Iyun with Benzion, along with humor, under 30 minutes. Have a
No,
good
it's
day.
Sukkah. It's not Yuma. We learned it.
Succah. Have a good day. Bye.